All right. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another Podwans Roundtable. We are here to talk about Acolyte Episode 5. I'm here with my typical co-host, Hereth Productions.
What's going on, everybody?
Today, well, obviously, we're going to be talking about this bombshell of an episode that we got this week, and I am so excited to be discussing it with Hereth,
Yep.
our reoccurring guest for the Acolyte, and a new guest that'll be arriving here shortly. So, Hereth, we got a lot to talk about. Ready to get rolling? Ready
Of
to get
course.
our good old buddy in here?
Yeah, let's do
All
it.
right, let's bring it on.
The Emperor has foreseen a new threat rising against him. The Podwans Podcast.
And we are back. Okay, so of course we have our typical guest on today for the Acolyte. Specifically, he's been on all of our reactions, and he's been on every single one of our roundtables thus far, and will be on for the remainder of the show. We have Nick, ND Wise Guy.
Char, how are you doing? Hereth, good to see you both.
It's good to see you too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to have you still here, despite what happened on Tuesday this week, because there's a lot that happened. There's
Just a little bit.
a lot of shifts, a lot
Yeah.
of turns, a lot of holes, if you know what I mean.
A lot of biceps.
Yeah, a lot of tonnage. But Nick, it's good to see you. How you been?
I'm doing well, thanks. I've been doing good. I'm just still, like you said, kind of still wrapping my head around all the craziness that we had on Tuesday.
Oh, of
Looking
course.
forward to chatting about it with everyone.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be diving into so many different details about Tuesday's episode. But we do have one more guest on, but she will be here soon. Will be here soon. So we will wait for our other guest. But for now, let's dive into what the hell went down in Acolyte episode 5. Obviously, the first and foremost thing we got to talk about is the elephant in the room, of course, Chimere, the Sith.
Ooh.
Like, what the hell was that about? Let's talk about the duels. Let's talk about what happened with, I don't know, like everything that went on with Chimere, and then the reveal, and then the fighting, and everyone talking about how this lived up to what Leslie Headland said about this being on par with the Duel of the Fates. Nick, Hereth, what are your thoughts on everything that went down in terms of Chimere and the duels of this episode?
I think like the duels to me bested Duel of the Fates when you look at them on a choreographic and technical perspective. I almost saw like an almost artistic quality to the Jedi's movement, which you really didn't see in Duel of the Fates. I think we can all agree John Williams is the GOAT, and I think music-wise, it's really hard to hit that height that Duel of the Fates was. But the way that they handled these fights were incredible to me.
Yeah. To me, like what I love about this fight is I love how it didn't feel like a traditional Star Wars duel. It feels like more of like a street fight, and just like how like the Jedi are just lost and like the chaos of it all. Because obviously, for the last 100 years, they haven't really done much training. They mostly do like lightsaber for ceremonial stuff. So like when you introduce a Sith with another lightsaber, it's like watching them struggle, and also the fact that you're watching all these different like individualities of the Jedi come out. Because usually with like lightsaber fights, it's like, oh yeah, here's like one person and another person. They kind of are similar. To this, is like I love how you could like tell the difference between like Yord and Jeki and Sol and all the nameless Jedi. Even they all have like their own unique type of quirks to the battle.
And another thing that I noticed, because you see it in because for those of you who know me, Hereth, you've heard me say this a million times, that the Duel of the Fates is my favorite prequel fight. It's my favorite prequel fight, and to have this happen, and for me to be like, this actually lived up to what Leslie Headland said. Like this is I think this is better than the Duel of the Fates. Like the sheer choreography, the emotions, the confusion from the Jedi. Like, because you see it in the Phantom Menace. Yord said it like there's no there's no rules to his movements. There's no cadence. With his Tricata lightsaber form. The way he fights is completely foreign to the Jedi. They've not seen this before. And then you can see it with Qui-Gon when he's fighting Maul on Naboo. Like you kind of see like in his facial expressions when Maul's attacking him when him and Qui-Gon are going one-on-one, you can see Qui-Gon just go like briefly for a moment before he gets obviously stabbed in the abdomen. But like even Qui-Gon, he sees the way he fights. He's like, what is this method of attack? This is very strange to me. But obviously it led to his demise. Exactly with how Yor did. Like he doesn't understand how this new form of combat is. Like this is completely new to them. So hence why the Jedi were just off so quickly. They didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
But we have our second guest here today. Hi, Kier.
I'm so sorry I'm late, but
It's okay.
You're good.
It's okay.
You got Kier here from Batu.
I was gonna
yeah,
say
I'm into two. Yeah.
Your worshipfulness has every right to be fashionably late.
Thank
Good to
you
have
so
you
much.
here.
Thanks. It's
It's
been
been
a
a
while.
long time. It's been
I
a long time.
know. My life gets taken up with having a toddler, so
Yeah.
you know. It's
Yeah.
nice to pop in once in a while. Thank
Where are
you.
you in Batu?
I am like Ronto Roasters is right there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
nice.
Subtle flex. Sorry.
The immersion is awesome right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great to see you, Kier. I mean, like before just to like get the ball rolling. I mean, what were your thoughts on the duels of this episode? Because we're covering a few topics, but the first thing we're talking about is Chimere, the Sith, and the fights that happened.
Yeah. I mean, I know the creator Leslie had said that the duels would rival the Phantom Menace, the Duel of the Fates. Whether or not we've seen that duel she was referring to, I don't know. But I will say it was really exciting to see lightsabers like that in live action. Like, I thought the fight choreography was amazing.
Yeah.
I loved, particularly for me, when Jackie went to a dual wield. That was a great moment for me. I was like, ah, it was very satisfying as a fan. So yeah.
Yeah, you don't get to see much Jar Kai anymore.
Not
like,
really.
There's only
no.
so few Jedi that use two lightsabers at a time, and it's awesome to see. But
Phenomenal.
I was looking on Twitter today because a lot of people are still confused about the Sith returning. But like a lot of these people are also Darth Bane lovers, which should be like, wait, this doesn't make sense. How are you so confused that the Sith have returned, but you love Darth Bane? The Sith never really went extinct. They were just hiding for a long time. Like this is nothing crazy. They're like, oh, the Sith just appear out of nowhere. No, they've always been around. None of them knew. None of them knew. They were planning for a long time. So,
for sure. I mean, you see, I don't know if you guys watched the High Republic show or watched it, but there's a great moment where Pablo is talking about like the Sith in the Old Republic and the Sith and he's like, he just like takes the mark and goes, whoop, like it's this whole long like area where we like don't know what's happening. And I think it's easy to like listen to some quotes like Yeti Mundi obviously saying like the Sith have been around for a millennia, so therefore they, like people latch out of things like that.
Yeah.
But it's exciting. I will say he did say you could call me Sith. He didn't say he was Sith.
Well,
so we don't know, I don't know.
Well, because Kira, I had a whole argument with a certain person of this podcast. He goes by the name of Luke.
Yeah, how about that?
He took that fragmented section of that episode where you faintly hear Kylo Ren's theme.
Oh yeah,
like, he's the first Knight of Ren. He's the first Knight of Ren.
I've seen that.
But it's funny
too,
because Manny Jacinto, the guy who plays him, came out and said that he is a Sith.
Oh, he did. Okay, I missed that.
He said that he's a Sith.
Okay, cool.
Because like a lot of I mean what he said did sound very open-ended where it's like you may consider me as a Sith.
Yeah.
But it was like, what was the last time you saw someone with a red lightsaber murdering multiple Jedi at the same time? It was Revenge of the Sith. So, you can tell he's a Sith. Like no other type of person is doing that besides the Sith.
In live action, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like when Luke and I were talking, like Luke was so adamant that he was a Knight of Ren.
It would be a cool theory. It would be cool. His forearms look the same as the original Ren in the comics. Yeah. Like, I get it, but I don't know. It's fun to theorize.
Yeah, I mean, with the helmet and like him looking like Ren from Rise of Kylo Ren, it's a whole thing. But yeah, honestly, Hereth, I think we should put Luke on trial. For for the turmoil that he caused.
I think that should just be a debate podcast instead of itself.
Because Hereth was there and Nick was there, but we went. Well, Chris, Star Wars lawyer, went live on TikTok, and then us and about I think 6 or 7 other creators. Connor was there, Hereth was there, a bunch of us were there, and literally Luke just gathered and just brought up the Ren situation and tried to. He literally wanted like affirmation that his theory was right, but.
I guess the First Order got Kier.
I force pushed her. Don't worry. Don't worry. Carol will be back soon. Welcome back.
Somehow Kier has returned.
Shoot.
Maybe.
I thought I had good service. I was trying. Oh, man. Okay. Sorry.
I mean, it's not lagging at all, but I mean,
No.
Okay.
I don't know. I thought maybe Chimere took you. I don't know.
Yeah. I was just so offended. I was like, wow, how dare you besmirch Luke when he's not even here? I'm out.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people are talking about the lightsaber choreography of this show.
Sure.
I mean, this is one of the best lightsaber duels we have gotten in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even after 6 trials in the courts, it is amazing how Luke is still around. Even after 4 trials of the Supreme Court, Newt Gunray is still the viceroy of the Trade Federation. Yeah, we should put Luke on trial. Seriously. Like
this isn't the first time this has been considered.
I don't know if you heard his first theory after episode 4, but he was claiming that there was a triplet. Even after May and Osha
it was after episode 3
distinguished in episode 3 as twins, he had the audacity to say that there was a triplet.
You know, I love a good delusion.
Where is this coming from? Like, there's no way. Like, they're established as twins. Why would a third just pop up out of nowhere?
I mean, yeah. I don't know. I've seen some people say Chimere might be another child, from the Coven too. There's lots of theories.
And there's a lot of people that are saying that Chimere is related to Soul.
I also seen the theory that because there's a hooded figure in episode 3 that you can't really see, but he looks really buff. People are saying that's also Chimere, that he was part of the Coven the entire time.
Interesting.
I mean, he looks good for his age if that's the case, because that was 16 years ago.
The dark side of the Force gives you Botox.
It's a pathway to many abilities.
Oh yeah. Also, speaking of Chimere theories, I saw this from Star Wars Explained. I thought that was a really interesting theory that the entire episode Chimere is just trying to break Soul. Like that's basically his end goal. Is
yeah.
That's a good point, especially because he could have attacked Soul a lot, and he wanted to verbally engage, whereas other people he just wanted to get rid of them, right?
Yeah.
And I will say, I think personally the most shocking moment for me where my jaw was hanging was when Soul just went full, you know what I mean? 1-2, used his fist
rage.
and the raw and the rage, and I was like, oh my god, this is great Star Wars, just the character, and I'm so intrigued. So intrigued.
That scene where he knocks down Chimere and then he just force pulls his saber. That was one of the most badass Jedi moments I've ever seen.
It's great.
He's like, I'm on business, and then Osha stops him before he's able to strike him down. But I mean, yeah, Star Wars fans have quite the track record of theories. Let's see, who's Snoke?
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, any thoughts before we get into the rest of the story about what we're going to be expecting from these next few episodes?
No, let's get into it.
I mean, because with the loss of Jackie and Yord and the swap between May and Osha and the whole like the conflict between Soul and telling Osha the truth, what's next for our characters? I have no clue what to be expecting from these next few episodes, because I know Nick wants to see a flashback on Brendok.
Yeah, I think that's a good. I mean, I don't think we saw the full story. I think it was an unreliable narrator.
Yeah, with the loss of Yord and Jackie, How is that going to impact our characters? And with the May and Osha swap, what's going to happen to Osha? What's going to happen to May? And then, like with Soul, will Soul tell Osha the truth? Like that's what will happen. Go ahead.
Yes, I do think so. Sorry, I'm just like, yes, let me talk. I'm so excited.
Floor's yours.
Hand motions. Yes, no, I do think Soul will tell the truth. It's a very like Ned Stark moment where he was like, we're gonna have this great conversation later, and everybody was like, oh well, fuck, he's gonna die. But I think Soul telling May he's pretending to be Osha would be very interesting because then May will see the other side of it. I think that Jackie and Yord, like thought-wise, they had to die, which sounds terrible, but they did. I think Osha, if you want to go with what I think the most interesting theory would be, is that May and Osha will kind of swap. And so, I mean, they did swap, but I mean, like light, dark,
like
all that
literally,
kind of, like yeah, exactly, they literally swapped, yeah. But I think having Yord and having Jackie were ties to the light, and having them gone, I think just kind of frees Osha up. I also think that Kinnear knows, because he knew when he saw Osha in the shop initially. He's like, "You look so much like her." He just looked and immediately knew. So there's no way he doesn't know, I think.
Yeah, because I mean that's exactly what I did, Kier. I went back and I looked at all the old episodes about Khmer and about what about him like gives off Sith vibes. And I mean, I remember from episode 2 when they're about to make the Bunta poison. I mean, him and May are kind of reciting the Sith code. So I'm like, there's something that he knows.
For sure.
But like, I was one of those people that didn't think Khmer was the Sith. I thought it was just like some outside entity.
So how did you think he dodged all that? Like, what was your excuse? He just worked out on the weekends?
I don't know.
I was under the impression because I was like, oh, it's so obvious that it's clearly a red herring. It had to be someone else. So I always just thought Khmer was just another acolyte, just to toy with May, and the Sith was kind of flipping between the two. So that's why I was like, oh, he's another acolyte. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, no, it's obvious.
It's kind of fun when it's obvious. It's kind of like, yeah, got it. Okay, I was right, because then they can pull twists elsewhere, right?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's like I did like that, Khmer was who we thought he was. And now you get the question of, okay, what's coming that we don't know that's coming? And I agree with you. I think that Osha, I think the flashback episode that we're going to see is going to be Khmer reciting the flashback to Osha. And giving him a bit of a twisted view, giving her a bit of a twisted view of it to bring her over to his side. So I think we're going to see the Jedi painted in much more of a negative light than we might have seen if that point of view was Soul's or someone else's, which I think is a really cool way to kind of have her buy in to that Sith ideology and that Sith lore.
Yeah.
As opposed to just being angry and wanting to do it.
Well, I mean, because the Sith are notorious for manipulation. So, like, I feel like that's bound to happen with Khmer and Osha. But that's the thing about, like, if you were to compare, like, Palpatine and Anakin versus Khmer and Osha, like Palpatine manipulated Anakin, but Anakin really had no, like, reason to go against it. But with Khmer and Osha, and then there's Soul Story, like, there's an outlier to this. While Palpatine and Anakin were kind of like, Anakin was like, okay, I believe you. Okay.
The interesting thing is like Nick and I were talking about this even on the reaction discussion. It's like the pieces are already in play for Khmer just to toy Osha back to her side, because May is already getting Osha flipped up on like what happened during that night. Khmer just has to put the pieces in play and basically flip her against the Jedi, and it's pretty simple.
Yeah, it's pretty much straightforward. I mean, and can we just talk about how brutal Jackie and Yord's deaths were?
Oh my god.
And the reaction, Hereth and Nick and myself gasped so loud when I saw that bop it, twist it, pull it on Yord. I was like, oh.
I can say this positively, that including House of the Dragons, there's never been so many what the fucks dropped.
Yeah. There was about 5 in that reaction. It was awesome, but also super sad. Super sad. The Yord Horde. The Yord Horde is gone. The Jackie Jam is gone. The Kelnaka crew, first of all, the Kelnaka crew thank God this is here. I don't want to see Kelnaka here anymore because I was
there is a clip we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, we are going to
From the
see more
trailer.
of Kilnaga.
get
Yeah.
this off the screen. Thank you. No, I knew that Kelnaka was going to die in episode 4. Like
You
I
did?
told Luke that. I told him straight up. I'm like, there is no way I'm gonna let Luke, the guy who like is obsessed with Wookiee Jedi, have his like Kodak moments. And then when we get there, he's dead. I'm like,
I remember like
Luke
theorizing.
deserves it after all the shit theories he had. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was
This
karma.
is just like Luke Dunk hour, isn't it?
It really is. The poor guy.
Go ahead, Hereth.
No, I was gonna say. I remember with the Kelnaka thing. I was just like, oh, I'm curious to see how they're gonna kill Kelnaka. Oh, never mind.
Mhm.
Slumped to the chair.
And I mean, like, that did such a good job of setting up how scary Chimere Stranger really was. Because he was not able to just kill a Wookiee Jedi, but seemingly sneak up and kill a Wookiee Jedi. Like, that place was immaculate. It hadn't been trashed. Like, he was in and out, done.
And he's got those plants around his like perimeter that like go off if anyone's there, and
Yeah,
Nothing.
that's true.
he should have been aware of it. It was exactly what happened when those bounty hunters were around his homestead, and he was like, "Get off my property," or what translated to, "Roar." but yeah, I don't know how he didn't sense it. He just, I don't know. He probably floated in like how he did in the end of episode 4. But with Osha is the key to all this. I'm not trying to quote, Jar Jar being the key to all this. Do you think that she's going to be the next Acolyte? Do you think that she's going to become what May was?
I think Chimere has every reason to want Osha and not May.
Yeah.
Like, I think he wants a pupil, right? And he had May, and he can't trust her anymore in his perspective. And Osha has been nothing but trustworthy. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, in short.
Yeah, I think, like, May was driven by revenge. And the second that she realized that, to a degree, that revenge wasn't necessary anymore, she faltered almost immediately. And rightfully so. Her loyalties have always been to her family and her sister. And I think that if you can get Osha to be driven by hurt and by hate, you're going to get someone way more loyal and way more powerful than what you would get out of May.
Hereth?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I feel like the one thing that Chimere wanted out of May, Osha did. She defeated him without a weapon. She outsmarted him and outplayed him. And Chimere's like, you know what? You're interesting. You're right. And also the interesting jab he threw at May when he was fighting Jackie, being like, see, this is what a loyal pupil looks like. So it's like, this has been his endgame since day one.
Well, you know what's funny, Sean, that you say that? Because, I mean, Star Wars is really good at, like, setting things up in advance. Because you can see when Osha was on the prison ship that she was trying to force pull Pip to her, and she couldn't. So, like, there's a strong possibility that she will regain her Force abilities back.
Well,
so,
and she says she already has, right? Like, she said that she could sense that Umbra Moth
yeah.
in episode 4. So, like, it's starting to come back. So I could see definitely it being the Force being used on Soul or whoever, because we still haven't seen Vernestra on Kofar. And I am still convinced she's showing up. That light whip scene is on Kofar.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like this gives every reason for Osha to believe in Chimere because of the information that Soul's holding back from her. Like, she is questioning what he has, what he knows about what happened on Brendock. So, like, I feel like the Chimere's going to use that to his advantage and use that to be able to turn Osha to his side. But, I mean, with what Nick said, like, because we all know, we saw the trailer with Vernestra with the light whip. I mean, I'm trying to think, what will be said to her? Because Vernestra has to find out what happened. Like, there's no way that she doesn't get word of this. And, like, what will her involvement entail? So, I mean...
What if it's Basil?
I think it's going to be Soul. I think that Soul on some level knows that that is not Osha, because he was very clear with his wording, which was, "Where is your sister?" Not "Where is May?" "Where is your sister?" He knows. I mean, he knew Osha through the Force almost immediately when they found her, when they talked to her. I think that he is going to be the one to communicate to Vernestra. I think Vernestra, who seems to be in full-on, I'm going to cover it up Watergate mode, is going to come solo. And that's what's going to introduce that final battle between Vernestra and Chimere, and I think Osha and Sol.
1000% agree. I think that's.
Have you guys read the High Republic at all? Like, do you know Vern's character or anything like that?
Yeah. I've read,
Okay,
I've
good.
read,
Okay,
I've read
okay.
Test of Courage. I've read,
Okay, great.
yeah.
I haven't read Defy the Storm yet, but I'm caught up on Venestra, at least from phase 1.
Yeah, I'm not
Okay,
that
cool.
deep into phase 2, but I mean, I have read Path of Deceit and Quest for the Hidden City. So that's as far as I've gotten. I really need to catch up.
I'm in phase 2 too. It's fine.
And I'm from
Like,
Chicago, and ketchup is not allowed on hot dogs, but I need to catch up. But Vernestra, like, what do you think is going to be said to her? Like, what are the words that'll be told to her? Like, hey, 6 Jedi were just massacred on Kofar, and that's not even including what happened to Kelnaka. What happens?
I think Sol's going to cover it up again.
What's the response from Vernestra?
I think she's gonna die.
Yeah,
I think so too. I mean, she's over 100 years old. I mean, there's plenty of stories for her.
What did Grandma
she's not-
Vern do to deserve this?
and a large
I mean-
portion of the High Republic fandom will cry out so loudly that it will be heard everywhere.
Yeah, but you're also part of the High Republic fandom. Like, everyone dies.
I mean, Justina Ireland's story post wasn't that reassuring. She was like, "It's the High Republic. Everyone dies." You're like,
Yeah.
Justina, you're supposed to like make us feel safe.
No one in the Luminous group has ever made us feel safe.
Especially
So
Kevin
true.
Scott.
Especially Kevin Scott. Yeah.
Especially Kevin Scott.
So I think this is her end, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how it goes down. I'm sure it'll be wonderful. But
Yeah, I'm excited
well
to see
written.
these fanboys respond to the light whip. It's gonna be awesome.
Because my thing is, it's like, from the way Nick is describing it, like when Nick said it, I was like, that makes sense. The only real question mark is May. May is like the big, like, what is she gonna do this season? Because like Osha, Sol, Vernestra, Chimere, you can be like, okay, that's gonna happen. Maybe that's gonna happen. Maybe that's gonna happen. You can kind of like pit the fights against each other. But like when it comes to May, you're just like, what's gonna happen with her flip dynamic now? She's with the Jedi.
Yeah, I mean,
May's gonna bite it.
And you know what the crazy thing is? People are like, "Oh my god, why is she doing this?" Because before she was going to turn herself into Kelnaka, and I'm like, "Do you understand like how stories can like change based on the scenarios you're in?" Because I understand that she was going to go turn herself into Kelnaka, and she betrayed Chimere, and she was going to, reveal herself that she knows something about this Darksider that the Jedi would love to know, but things change. Obviously, Chimere was the Sith, so he already knows that she was going to betray him. So he took matters into his own hands and was going to kill her and kill every single Jedi that was there. That's as simple as that. And she was like, okay, well, obviously I can't turn myself in because A, Osha was going to arrest me. Jackie already put me in handcuffs before, she was eventually offed. So obviously getting involved with the Jedi is not the smartest thing, but what she's doing right now with going undercover, that could be different. Because there's still a way for her to reveal information to Sol about who this person is. And I think that's very, very interesting because at the end of the day, she did accomplish what she wanted to. She did technically like turn herself into the Jedi by doing like a whole role reversal. But I mean, anything can happen. Like there's a lot of information that's still left out there that could be revealed to us in episode 6. But yeah, any thoughts about what's going to happen?
I cut you off. I keep cutting you off. I'm sorry.
No. I won't cut you off. What do you think's going to happen?
I don't think her end game was to turn herself into the Jedi. I think her end game was to find Osha. Like to her, it's about I just want my sister back, right? And
Yeah.
so Osha was with the Jedi, and that was how she found Osha. And May feels very. I mean, we saw with the fire. We've seen her. She's very reckless. She's very like she's not somebody who's gonna plan things out. You know what I mean? She has to
Yeah.
pivot. She has to kind of be like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. Fuck, I'm gonna do this. And I think she's very good at that. Assassins have to be. But I think her main goal was to try and get back with Osha, and I still think right now when she got to Osha and Osha was like, no, like we're not gonna run off into the horizon forever. We need to be arrested.
Yeah.
I think this is still her way of getting eventually back with Osha. She's gonna go to the Jedi. She's gonna show Osha, hey, these guys aren't what you think they are. Now you can come be with me. Like I think that is her main goal.
Yeah, and I think that it's gonna be interesting because I think this will be the last time Osha and May see each other before whatever happens to Osha. Like I feel like what would be a good part of the story would be if Osha actually like she follows along with Chimere and becomes the next Acolyte, and May's like a little confused, like, oh my god, he's gotten control of you. What like are they gonna fight each other? Like I feel like there's so much meat and potatoes that can happen.
But like you said, like that makes everything interesting because it's like we got Osha out here who's like wary of the Sith, wary of like what May has become, to the point where she's just stun blast her anytime she saw her until she had to confront her in episode 5 or 5.
Yeah.
Episode 5. And then now we have the opposite. May now
Yeah.
has to confront the Jedi, what Osha's comfortable with, and now face her trauma and pain and fear head on. Meanwhile, Osha has to do the same thing with Chimere. So it's like this very interesting dynamic of like now the roles are reversed. How are they going to handle their fear?
Do you
Nick?
think that I just had this thought, and it may be crazy, but I'm wondering if the flashback episode we're going to get, because I am 100% convinced we're going to get the flashback episode, is almost going to be a duel of competing tales as to what Chimere is telling Osha and what Soul is telling May.
I was almost
I
thinking
think
that
so.
too, like almost like an Avatar: The Last Airbender type episode.
That's exactly what I was gonna say, Heather. Hereth. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm a little tired. But yes, no, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Especially because the titles, they had the dual titles, and then on the Brendock episode, it was just one word instead of like something / something else, which I think was like Osha's perspective. I think we're gonna get May's perspective. I think that's an interesting way to think about it. I also have a crack theory that if this is a safe space, I'd like to share it.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Let's hear it.
Okay. So I read that Soul, obviously sun, and Chimere, I'm saying it wrong, means moon in Arabic.
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I think I don't know about the age difference. I think it would be interesting if they had a brother and like 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and Soul got chosen to be part of the Jedi, and like Chimere didn't, and he got left behind, right? The Jedi like didn't choose him as a Padawan, and so he kind of started this journey. And then you've got May and Osha, who also had their journey, and then you have like essentially these 4 planets kind of orbiting around each other. I think that would be very interesting.
I had the same thought during the reaction, and I won't say it specifically what it is, because if you're still in phase 2, if I tell you why I see parallels, I will spoil it for you.
Oh,
but I think that
thank
would
you.
be really
Bless you.
cool to see those parallels play out, if that were the case. But I'm with you on that. I think that's very likely.
I think that would be cool. And Soul said Chimere felt familiar. Soul probably may not remember his brother because they take Padawan super young. So,
sorry, you go, Char.
Oh no, I was gonna just briefly say, like, a lot of the people are talking about or trying to like piece together what Chimere meant about like you Jedi may call me Sith, but no one's talking about like the idea that Soul and Chimere may be related. Like everyone's so focused on whether or not he's Sith rather than if he's related to Soul. But
And it's like the related how, because it's like the way that Chimere was talking, it almost sounded like soul was his master at some point, or when he was like a youngling, maybe he was in the Jedi Order and left or some point. It's like, or like you said, is he familiar? Like, it's like, how are they connected? Because there is the connection there in their past.
That's true. Yord recognized him. Yord recognized him here. He was like, you, right?
But I think
Well, he recognized them from episode
Episode 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Scratch that. All right.
Yeah, from the from when he was giving.
From he
Maiden
was in
poison.
the, yeah.
Yeah.
The who is he? I thought he was with you.
No,
Right.
yeah, but
Yeah,
the
that was
whole
very funny.
the whole thing with, I mean, just kudos to Manny Jacinto. I mean,
Oh my God.
I had no idea
Yes.
that he would be the bad guy. Like, I found out that Leslie Headland casted him before his character was even written. I feel like that's how much they wanted them in the show.
You
And I
haven't-
see
Did you not
why.
watch The Good Place?
Thank
Did
you.
anyone
I
watch
was
The Good Place?
just going to say that.
He's like this himbo, but he's also got this like,
Yeah.
let me tell you.
Yeah, and like, and when we meet him in episode 2, like, a lot of the people were like, "Oh my God, the way he was able to like push back against May in the little alleyway and everything." But what sold me was like he played himself off as like, "I'm gonna need another drink," and he sold it perfectly that he was like this lousy, up to no good follower, and he was just this bad guy. But I think it was just he was able to mask himself so well. Like, no pun intended to the helmet, but he was
Kind of like Sheev, Senator
had-
Palpatine.
I had no
You know?
idea. I had no idea that he would be the bad guy.
Yes,
But-
Pat. Love that comment.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, what is the Bortles meme? I've seen so
Okay.
much about it.
Oh, it's from The
So-
Good Place.
From the good
Oh.
place. So he is Jason Mendoza is a giant Jags fan, and anytime something goes
Oh, like
right
Jacksonville
for him,
Jaguars.
yes.
Oh, is
Anytime
it like a
anything goes
reference
right
to
for him,
Blake
he's like,
Bortles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anytime
makes
something
sense.
goes right for him, he's like Bortles.
That makes a lot more sense because I was like, who the hell is he referring to as Bortles? But yeah, now I get it.
but
Well-
like, oh, sorry, you go next.
I was just saying, like, I think like the brilliance of Manny Jacinto, and when we saw it a bit there in episode 2, when he realizes that he's not talking to May, and you see the facade drop a little bit, but in episode 5, that switch from like this like dead-faced Sith, and then he looks over at May and he's like, "Hi."
Oh,
And
Hello.
he's come here for a second, and then he just slips back into
Throws
it.
a cloak.
Like, it's just so well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
It like gives me Palpatine and Kenobi vibes, where it's like how he could just flip that switch from "Oh hi, I'm friendly, come here" to "This is the Sith Lord," kind of like how Palpatine did it with Vader and Kenobi. With the, "Hi."
cannot be overcome.
It's just
I will
like
say,
it's-
he doesn't have Sith eyes.
that
Oh
is
my-
true.
The amount of people that were talking about it, and I'm like, Dooku didn't really. I mean, Dooku in some instances had Sith eyes, but like,
Mhm.
For the most part, he didn't.
yeah, I mean, a lot of people were using that as like a cornerstone argument against him being a Sith.
It's
But like,
not. It's just a point.
eh,
Yeah.
I mean, you can use it however way you want to, but there's been Sith that don't always have the red eyes, or not the red eyes, the yellow
Yeah.
eyes, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I
Like-
think like Anakin in Revenge of the Sith, when he's talking to Padme at first, doesn't either, if I remember.
Oh, and when he's fighting Obi-Wan, he doesn't have them
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only instances where he has yellow eyes is when he's taking out the Trade Federation, or when he's taking out the Separatists when he's about to take out Wat Tambor, and that one scene where he's burning on the hillside. That's
human charcoal.
Yeah.
Which makes sense with canon because, like you said, with like Dooku and Dark Disciple, it's like when they're the most cemented in the dark side is when it'll come out.
yeah, and then you briefly see him with yellow eyes in Clone Wars when he's training Savage Opress. Like,
Yeah.
there's very few times where we see Dooku with it, but he has had yellow eyes. We just have yet to see it with Chimere because I'm not gonna lie. Well, half the time he was wearing a mask, so it's not like there could be a chance where we do see him with yellow eyes. It's just there's still, like I said, for a lot of the people that are jumping to conclusions on this show, still a lot more screen time left.
And,
Still
and
a
I,
lot
and
more
I
screen
love
time.
I love that so much. Like, here we are, we're like 5 episodes in. We've gotten so much of the narrative, but here we are. I don't think there's no consensus idea as to where it is this is going to go. And
Yeah.
the
Good
way
writing.
that Leslie, the way that they've spun out the writing and the narrative and kind of given us little bits and then answered it while giving us new bits has been so excellently done. Like full kudos to Leslie and the writing team.
Yes.
Okay, so
Although
we're
I
gonna
will
play.
say I'm still a little upset because I hyperfixated on Master Indara before the show came out, and I was prepared to make her like my
Oh.
entire identity, and then she fucking died in the first and I was like, oh no.
I think we're going to
Alright.
see some more Dara action in that flashback. I think
I hope
it's
so.
bound.
Yeah, well, I mean, and speaking of seeing characters, we're gonna play a little bit of a game, a little bit of it's called Plus or Minus. Ever played that game before? It's very rare. No one really plays it. So I'm gonna ask you 5 different questions. It's gonna be either plus, you think it's gonna happen, minus, it's not gonna happen. All right. First one. We see another cameo of a Jedi, plus or minus,
Like one we haven't seen before.
like Kiadi Mundi cameo.
No,
Minus,
minus.
Like a like Yoda.
like a
somebody we know.
Yariel Poof or a
Yeah.
like.
Nah,
You think
minus.
we'll see that minus? Yeah, I think so too. I think Kiadi Mundi was the only one that was going to be in that show, and well, we obviously all know the outrage, but like this
like,
character
people-
is like he plays a part of it because like he's integral to what happens in the Phantom Menace, and we're gonna be like, okay, well, this was happening, but he wasn't aware of it.
Look who just joined the
I
chat.
was going to say we have a lurker.
Oh, Lucas Hagen.
Oh my god.
Let's see the defendant of the trial.
They are
you on
coming after
trial
you at this episode.
A-
I just want to say.
Your Ren theory, and B, the worst of the two, your triplet theory. So we're gonna put you on trial, and we're gonna ask you questions about what the hell is going through your mind and why you think this show is like.
I guess a future Law Ones episode in the making, Chris, maybe?
Oh, I like that.
Nice.
Look, I'm taking you to Pod Court, okay?
Hardcore.
Yeah,
Uh,
Podwans Pod Court, okay? I know that's okay. They are wrong. Yeah. We know. Okay, so the next plus or minus. So we had if there would be another Jedi cameo. The plus or minus now. Venestra will die. Plus or minus.
100%.
I think she's done.
Wikipedia, how you doing?
Hey, what's
Hey,
I gotta think about this
we love
one.
you.
I'm gonna go plus.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna flip to. Oh, sorry, I meant minus. I'm gonna flip. I'm gonna flip
Oh.
from these two.
Okay,
Because-
so plus or minus, will Venestra die in
Minus.
this season?
I think she's going to.
I
Hereth.
have my argument. Here we go. Here's my reason why. Kamir, after dropping his whole face facade, like there's no way, like Kasol's gonna obviously most likely relay that information, right? Let's kind of be real. No one can know Kamir's face. So either Kamir dies or Vernestra dies. And I think Kamir's more likely on the chopping block because if the Sith Master finds out that he revealed himself to the Jedi, he's done. So it's like no matter what, Kamir has to die. And I think it would make sense story-wise if Vernestra is the one to do it, so they're under the precondition, oh, we destroyed the Sith. Or if it's this guy is just like a dark side rogue user, like he's not really a Sith, like whatever conclusion they come up with, makes sense for Vernestra to be the one that kind of spins it.
So I agree with you to a part. I do think that Vernestra will defeat Chimera. And I think that, between Soul talking to her and her seeing this person, she's going to come away going, shit, the Sith are back. And then I think I said this on the reaction as well. What I think is going to happen is whoever the master is going to introduce Vernestra to a little hyperspace accident. And that'll be the end. Because that's not going to be a message she's going to want to send over a holonet to the Jedi Council going, hey, by the way, we just lost 8 Jedi and there's a Sith that I just killed. There's probably more. She's going to take that in person. And she's not going to get back.
Okay.
Because it's
So,
like,
Hereth,
Yeah.
you're minus on it.
I'm minus because I don't think they can Yaddle Vernestra. Because it's like, Yaddle, sure, she could disappear because of the mall situation and be like, oh, yeah, we don't know what happened to Yaddle. Vernestra, if she goes missing, I think it would put the entire Jedi Order on watch. They need something to, like, quickly shove this under the rug as fast as possible.
Right. But if she has an accident in hyperspace, that's just these things happen.
Yeah, y'all, it's the High Republic. She's done.
Exactly.
Please.
Do you not remember what we talked about 5 minutes ago? This is the High Republic. My only reservation now is that Luke agrees with me, which makes me worry.
I feel like every time I come on this chat, it's just bashing Luke. Like that's just half the conversation.
Well, I mean, where's the fun if you don't do that? You know, like
Instead of the people versus George Lucas, it's the people versus Lucas Egan.
no, it's just
Yeah,
the people versus Lucas. It's just- all right. So the next one,
Which are what was your answer?
positive. Are you
Okay.
kidding me? Like, she's just as involved as everyone else. Like, I'm curious on how it happens, but I'm very certain that it will. I mean, but I don't want it to happen. But my brain's telling me it will. So the next plus or minus. Now we have. Will we see the death of Mother Anasea? Because they just say they all died, but will we see her actual demise? Because I mean, this also requires a flashback, which we're pretty much guaranteed it'll happen. But
Yeah.
Okay,
I think
Mother
Mhm.
Anasea is Jodie Turner, right?
yeah,
Yep.
Jodie Turner Smith. Yeah,
I think so.
Yes.
Hmm.
And
But
and
I
think,
don't think the other mother is dead.
Coral.
oh, you think Coral's alive?
Really?
Yeah, because when we looked at when they showed the dead witches, she wasn't there.
Yeah.
They were
Mhm.
all there except for her.
And they
So-
also didn't show the front of Mother Anasea, which makes me think that
Mhm.
whatever Osha saw
yeah.
that made her try to go to Mother Anasea is going to be shown in this flashback.
And Nick, I am still sticking to my original gun theory that I said in episode 3. I think Torben is the one that kills Mother Zayla. Because he has to have something that like completely traumatizes and guilts him. Because I think what happens is Mother Zayla does what she did to Torben to Kelnaka and tries to take over him. And that's how we get the Kelnaka fight with Sol and Dara. I think Torben, not knowing anything else what to do,
Mm.
tries to sever their connection, thinking that's the only choice he has left.
I
Because I could-
thought something a little different about that. I thought maybe Torben was more weak-minded, and so that's why she was able to give him the black eyes, and she like uses him against Kelnaka. In that clip where we see him like leaping at Torben. I have no
Ooh.
facts. It's just that's
I mean,
what I
it's going to be interesting. So like, it's going to be a hell of a fight because whenever you have a Wookiee in a fight, it's going to be a hell of a fight.
yeah.
Yeah, we saw
Yeah.
the Battle of Kashyyyk. Oh my god. We saw the aggression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I'm gonna go minus. I don't think we're gonna see how she died. I don't think we're gonna see that. I think that's gonna be a mystery. I feel like we're gonna be more focused on, well, I mean, obviously Torben's story is gonna be a question, but we also have no idea like the involvement that he had with Anasea. So I'm gonna go no. I don't think we're gonna see how she died.
Question. Did we? So we can't see her face.
Correct.
Is it just a robe? Can we
Well,
see her
you-
body?
You can see the hairstyle. Like they definitely give the
Okay.
impression.
Okay,
That's
I'll shut
her.
up. This
Yeah.
Is, this is why I've only seen it once.
Yeah.
I
But
got
also-
really excited. I was like, did she disappear in the Force?
But also
Yeah.
the fact that people forget, obviously, because they're leaving the mystery of like they definitely weren't killed by the fire. People were theorizing it's the poison that Chimera used in episode
Yeah.
2
Oh,
because it
yeah.
looked very similar effects. How is that
Uh-huh.
going to come into play? Because they all get poisoned. It
Yeah.
looks like it does. Again, we never know.
All right, and then so just for a consensus, I'm minus. Hereth, you're all positive.
Yep.
All right. The fourth one. We have one more after this. The fourth one. Either May or Osha will die.
Oh.
Really, I think so too. Really,
Yeah.
I mean, which one do you think, May or Osha?
I
May.
think May. Yeah. I
May.
agree with Tara. I think May.
Yeah, May. But
Yeah.
how? How do you think she'll die? You think she'll die by the hands of Chimera?
I think that she might die at the hands of Vernestra.
Really?
That would be
I
interesting.
think I think that you're not, because you're going to see soul contact for Nestra. This is my headcanon, and it's probably delusional. That's fine. I think
We'll
you're going
find
to
out
see
on
soul
Tuesday next
contact
week.
for Nestra. But May's just going to keep quiet, and then she's going to reveal herself once Vernestra's there, and Vernestra, knowing that she's killed at least 2, and as Jackie was trying to do a 3rd, is just going to be like, "You're guilty," and that'll be that. I mean,
I don't
Soul
know.
is
I
going
feel
to
like-
cut off Kyner's head.
But at the same time, like, is it the Jedi way? I mean, because if that was the case, Soul would have killed Khmer when he was on the ground.
Yeah, and Vernestra is very like by the book. I don't know.
Yeah,
So
I have my own.
He is in the books. I mean,
He's in the
the
books,
characterization that Rebecca Ferguson and the story has given her is very different. Even from Phase 3, even from Defy the Storm, it's very different. So, I mean, to me, like, I don't want to go into spoilers. So, how she's acting in this story so far, this need to keep things under wraps, is very different from Phase 3 Vern that we've seen so far. So I could see her wanting to just close it off, because she said very quickly she wanted this done quickly and quietly so that people wouldn't find out. So I could just see her being judge, jury, and executioner and going, okay, good, problem solved.
Do you think she's getting pressure though from the High Council to do that? I imagine she just kind of, that's not maybe not so her as like that mother after Yoda, but that's a different conversation. I'm not gonna.
I think she feels, yeah, we could go on for Yoda for a while. I got lots of thoughts on that. I think that she's feeling pressured to not bring it up to the council. Like, I think her entire conversations that we've seen so far, to me, have very much read as to, I don't want them to know, because if they know, then other people have to know, and it's going to cause a problem. So maybe it is like an indirect kind of directive that way, that she's been told, hey, if things bubble up that might look bad for us, just sweep them however you need to sweep them. And that could be the case, but I don't know if it's any. Let's say it wasn't given in council meetings, kind of similar to Anakin's assignment, I think.
Yeah, but on the same. Oh, go ahead, Kier. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna. Why don't they want the council to know? Why?
Because of the politics.
Because Vernestra says in episode, I think it's episode 2, that they're like, there's like political forces against the Jedi, and they're looking for any reason to get them out of the Republic. Yeah. So I think them being like, we didn't truly defeat the Sith, and we just kind of push them to the side, would kind of make them look terrible.
It makes me sad. I'm sorry. I'll mourn privately, but yes, that's ridiculous.
You're mourning how much the council has changed since the High Republic votes on it.
I am. That's exactly it. Yes. That's exactly it.
But
the council, like, literally, the council cannot like have any knowledge of this.
No.
Like, to have it lined up with the prequels, the High Council cannot know about this, because
they cover it up.
There's a lot of living Jedi that are on this council that are alive in the Phantom Menace. So if they get word of it, not only Ki-Adi-Mundi, if he eventually finds out, but Yoda, Yariel Poof, like, there's a lot of people on the council that are alive at this time. So
true. We do know Yoda is quite happy to cover things up if they're politically convenient for him.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, but also it's also the Sith. So like, this is like a major red flag.
I mean, you could be like what they did in the low council meeting. Oh, they're just a subsect of the Jedi. And it was just this one guy in May. They're gone. We dealt with them. That's easy to flip under the rug. Soul already did it 16 years ago.
Yoda.
Yeah, but that was like his own, like, that's like a personal, like, that's like a personal thing though. And also he's the only one that's alive from that planet too. So it's like
at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but to get back to the original discussion, who will die, May or Osha? Nick says Vernestra. I have a completely different answer. I think Osha will kill May, or May will kill Osha. I think it's going to be because let's look at the inspiration for the Acolyte. Frozen meets Kill Bill. how does Frozen
That is a good
end?
point.
Elsa sacrificed herself for Anna, but obviously
Other
she's
way.
brought back.
Other
But
way.
the other way, sorry, the other way around. Sorry, fading memory. Anyway, but how do you know it's not going to be this way for Acolyte? How do you know
Good
May
point.
is not going to try to sacrifice herself because she's seeing the path that Osha's going down because she lived it and was going to flip the other way? Now seeing that her sister is becoming the thing that she hates in herself, the only way to get her out of it is to sacrifice herself, which I don't think is going to work on Osha. I think by the point we get to her in the Acolyte, I think she's going to be too far gone. So I think Osha's going to kill May.
That's a good point. I had forgotten about that quote.
Yeah, me too.
Char, where do you stand on this?
I don't know. I feel like Kamira's gonna kill May. I don't know. I feel like
That's us,
But, like,
Luke.
that's-
Because whatever he thinks will be wrong. So then we can just go from
So
there.
therefore, we can just not. We can avoid. Luke, if you're still here, tell me what you. If either May or Osha die, who do you think is going to kill said character?
Not Kier from the top
we all
rope.
think May is going to die. So Luke, who do you think May is going to be the victim of? So because if whatever you'll say, we'll just forget. Okay. Thank you.
But if he agrees with me, then I'm wrong.
So
Is he still here?
so for May, for either May or Osha dying, we're all positive.
Yeah.
We're all positive
We're
May.
all positive. All right. So the last one, the fifth and final one, I feel like a lot of people are wanting this, and I feel like there's a chance that we may get it. We will see Chimere's master. Plus or minus.
Positive.
Can I clarify? Do you mean like see who it is, or just see the person in some way, shape, or form?
We'll find out who it is
Okay.
by the end of this season. We will find out who it is. Because I mean, if we see it, I feel like we have a chance to kind of know who it is.
Well, since you said that, no, I think we'll see him, but I don't think we'll know who it is.
Well, I mean,
I don't think he has a master.
really.
Yeah, I'm probably wrong.
I would love to hear more about this.
I think maybe this is a personal. I like it when the Force is weird, and I like it when the Force is unpredictable. And I think we're getting interesting things with like the witches and Brendock. Brendock. And I would love to see Force users who aren't just strictly Jedi and strictly Sith.
Yeah.
So I would love it if he was just literally a guy who just wanted freedom, and he was using the dark side, and he was looking for people. Like, I think that would be interesting than just seeing like, oh look, it's Darth Tenebrous. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
A
don't
lot
know.
of people are thinking it's either going to be Tenebrous or Plagueis.
Isn't Plagueis
Well,
like a kid at this point? I mean, that's not canon, but like he's not old enough, right?
In Legends, he would be
Legends?
a kid at this
Yeah.
point.
So
I think at most.
I mean, but that's Legends. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Matt
hey,
Martin
they
really-
tread lightly with characters and their legend.
But
legend
And their
standpoint,
birthday,
okay?
right?
well,
Okay.
I play devil's advocate because I'm a big fan of. Let's just put Plagueis in
Bunch
this
of
time period
scoundrel.
and just move everything a little bit more backwards. Matt Martin made a tweet in 2019. Someone asked about it, like, "Oh, when did Palpatine kill Plagueis?" And the quote was, "Many years before the Phantom Menace."
Yeah.
So they could age Plagueis up the other
Okay.
direction.
Great.
So
There's a
that's why
I
chance.
I'm
love.
Team
I think that
Plagueis.
would be cool. I don't know.
I mean, Kira, I could see you being correct, but I could still see Chimere getting cut down by whoever the Sith Master is, even if it's not Chimere's master per se. Because the one thing that we know for sure is that the Sith have been in hiding. They're around, and they don't want to be exposed. And I think this person, whoever it might be, whether it's Tenebrous, whether it's Plagueis, whether it's someone brand new, might see what's happening and go, no, this is a problem for me. I need to cut this out and still slice them down.
That would be interesting. I would love that.
Because Nick, we were talking about that on the discussion when Luke was on, like when he came into the discussion afterwards. We were talking about that possibility of like, what if the master already has like an apprentice, like a Dooku situation, a Dooku and Maul, and he's like, you know what, come here, you're done. I already have my apprentice right here. He's taking over. You're done. Like,
or
I
like
can
a
imagine him
Dooku
doing that.
Ventress
Yeah.
sort of thing. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you expose the Sith. Yeah, you're done. There's just like there's no around it in this period.
Yeah.
So, plus or minus, what do you think? Do you think we're going to see Kamir's master by the end of this season? Is that a middle thumbs away here? Oh yeah, I was like
Yeah, I
this. I
don't
was like comme si comme ça. I was like,
Yeah. I would be fine either way. I don't know.
I think
yeah.
so.
I think that we will. I think that we'll see who his master is, whether it be, I mean, if they want to make a whole new Sith, I mean, that's fine.
That's
I mean,
entirely
it's legends
possible.
is legends at the end of the day. If it's Tenebrous, if it's Plagueis, honestly, I would love to see Plagueis. That's just me personally. But
It would be cool.
this show could have anything. So we all think May is going to die. We all think that Vernestra is going to die.
Well,
We're
we're forgetting one key player, Char, in your plus and minus game.
What, Soul?
Yeah, what's the plus and minus on Soul?
Oh, Soul's dead.
Soul's dead. Soul's dead.
If Vernestra's dead, Soul has to die. Like if we're talking
Yeah,
about in
yeah.
terms of like the hierarchy of Jedi here, Vernestra's on the top.
Mm.
Everyone
So,
under, it's going to be like a avalanche effect.
Well,
If
here's
the top dies, everything else will go down.
Are we doing like
But
a
so
Deadpool
far,
situation
Kamir's
of
already been doing
like who's the most likely to die? I would put like Soul number 1, and then I would put like May number 2, and then I would put Vernestra 3. Oh no, sorry, Soul 1, Kamir 2, May 3, Vernestra 4, Osha 5. I think Osha's probably the safest of the 5.
What about Basil?
No,
Oh, Basil's safe.
Basil's
safe.
Basil's invincible. Okay,
Basil will somehow survive all this and just
I will
live on the planet
defend it.
peacefully.
I will defend that Tainan for my life. Okay.
I do agree though. I think Soul has to. I mean, if we're all on, and we all seem to be on the same board here, that Osha is going to become the Acolyte. The only way that happens is severing her ties from the Jedi and doing it in the most painful way possible, which would be killing the person who made her feel safe after what happened on Red Dog.
Mm.
And we also are forgetting another possibility of like if we are going to see the Master at some point in the series. What if What if Osha becomes the apprentice, and she kills Soul without a lightsaber, or Kamir without a weapon, and takes over?
But I mean, if as long as she's not involved with Kamir, I mean, I feel like I feel like she already betrayed him. So I feel like because I mean, Kamir was already trying to kill her, and I mean, he already has like his second chance with
Killed
having
a very
Osha.
strong word. I mean, he did push her out of the way immediately and was kind of toying with her.
Well, he was going to stab her.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
Soul didn't
he was
force
gonna
pull
kill
him.
He was gonna kill
Yeah.
her.
No,
And he said when she betrayed him, he'll kill you. So
Yeah.
like,
But that was to May, not the. I'm not about Osha. I think Osha, he was just
Oh, okay. So we're talking about different twins here.
Osha.
Osha.
I thought we were talking about.
no,
okay.
not about Osha. May, he was trying to kill the entire time. I think Osha, he was like, "Oh, this is my new apprentice."
Well, we're not gonna forget about the thrown lightsaber that was going after her.
I don't think
Yeah,
he was
that's
actually going to
true.
hit her. I think he was
That's
just
also
trying to
true.
draw Soul out.
Well, I mean, sure.
It's all
you could say
theories. You never
that.
know. At this point, it's so fun that we just really don't know. That's
Yeah,
very fun.
Pat's
to
like,
do.
why do you wish another Qui-Gon situation in me? At this time, there is no Force Ghost cheat. Yeah, well,
Soul is very Qui-Gon coded.
Look, Pat, as an honorary member of Soul Patrol, I could see where her story's going, and I can admit it and just enjoy it for the time we have left. Can't say that of your Horde and Jackie Jam. They didn't see this one coming.
No, they did not.
well, Pat. I mean, I'll tell you this: for Soul, in the wise words of Lord Santeca, he has traveled too far and seen too much. So yeah, he's gonna. I feel like I almost feel like that's a given at this point.
I
think
feel like
so.
him sacrificing himself would be interesting. You know,
That would be different.
That would be
see
cool.
that, like atoning. You know.
The true
whatever
heroics
he
of
did.
Soul.
Yeah.
Ooh. Could see him sacrificing himself to save May when Osha is
Yeah.
trying to kill May.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah.
Wikipedia, you have a great night as
Wow,
well. It's
Wikipedia.
great to
Yeah.
have you on here.
Good to see you, Jordan.
But I mean, what the? So like episode 6. So, Nick. So if what you say is true about this flashback, what are some things we want to see? What are some things that you expect to see?
I mean, obviously, Wookiee Jedi in action for sure is going to be an exciting thing. I think it's going to be interesting to see how well they play off the continuing Rashomon vibes that they went in so far. They've been very like Leslie Headland's been very clear that that's been a big influence on the storytelling about having that unreliable narrator. So I think that conflicting view of Chimere giving Osha one story and Soul giving May another,
Yeah.
and finding that answer somewhere in the middle is going to be a really cool way to go about it.
So, Kier, what do you think is going to happen in the next episode?
Somehow Palpatine will return.
Hell yeah!
I agree.
Actually, what Nick said is great. I think it's going to be unexpected. I think it's going to be interesting. I think they will leave some mysteries. You know, they're not going to have to tie everything up in a bow if there's a second season or, you know, more to play with in the sandbox. But I'm very excited to see all of it. I do think there'll be more lightsaber action as well.
Yeah, and then also seeing how Mother Anasea was off, because I mean we all collectively, agreed that that could happen.
Even though I thought you were the one that were like against, like we're not going to see
Except for me.
it. Yeah, you're forgetting your own lore, Char.
Well, it's fine. It's fine.
Should we just make a bingo list at this point of all our predictions and just put it on see whoever gets the most right?
I mean, I started a bingo board before the first episode and basically threw it away once I realized that pretty much 95% of it was wrong.
Look, we could just call it the post episode 5 bingo board and just put it out there and see what happens and just compile our predictions.
Yeah.
And then we'll put like the funny ones and shits and giggles ones, like triplets. I don't know why, but Luke thinks it. We'll put Chimera, Sith, Knight of Ren. Like we could put it all on there.
Yeah. Hereth, what do you think's gonna happen? What do you think's gonna happen?
I mean, I agree with Nick, but I think Kier also won me over with the whole like conflicting point of views. I could see this very much being that episode in season 1 of Avatar: The Last Airbender with like Uncle Iroh and Aang telling their stories of what happened. I could see that happening with Chimera saying one thing and then we're seeing it from Soul's point of view, and it's like, what is right? And like they're playing like right next to each other. You don't know which one's the truth. So we go in and out of their point of views.
Wait, Luke, I agree with you on what? Wait, Luke, I'm kind of curious. So we were asking the plus or minus if either May or Osha were going to die at the end of this season, and we all agreed that there is a big possibility that May might die. And Luke, with your track record of theories, we were just wondering who do you think is going to kill May, just so we know that's going to be incorrect, just so we can like base all of our other predictions off of what you said. That's all I want to know.
The only predictions I will always give to Luke is Kenobi. Everything else I'll just remove.
So yeah, I mean, but like for next week's episode, do you think it's going to be like episode 3 where it's going to be an entire flashback, or do you think we'll maybe jump into what Chimera and Osha are doing, or what Soul and May are doing?
I think we'll start in the present. I think we'll start here, and then it'll be like them telling the stories, and I think we'll go in and out.
A few jump cuts
of past and present.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably with the way that the show's edited, probably a few wipes.
Okay. Let's see what Luke said. Sorry. Let's see. Sorry, checking up on the stream, and I think next episode will be split up. Luke, we want to know who do you if May dies, who do you think is going to be her killer? We want to know who it would be, because we just want to make sure, because we all agree that May would die. We just want to know who you're going to say, so we don't see that coming.
Man, Luke is really dodging these questions like a presidential candidate.
Oh, so he thinks Osha's going to kill May. Okay. So Osha's not going to kill May. Good. No, that's already set in stone. Good to know. But
I hate it here.
no, I feel like Luke's the one that should be saying that right now because he just gets trampled every single time we're live, or whenever we're in the same. Whenever he's here, we trample on him. But I mean, man, thus far this show has just been full. It's just been a roller coaster of just what the hell's going to happen to our protagonists. Seriously, like the next thing you know, we see Luke Kelnaka, good character. Yeah, awesome, good screen time. It was awesome.
I'm right here, Char. I was part of that too.
It's okay. I'll be right next to my best friend. Hi, best friend. How are you doing? Are you alive? Probably not. All right.
You know who is alive? Probably Nubs.
Oh no.
No.
I have to watch Young Jedi Adventures. I have yet to see it. I've yet to see it.
Yes, you do. Watch it. What are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I'll give it a watch tonight. You know what? Just for you guys.
Yeah.
Just for you guys. I'll give it a watch tonight.
I mean, we did have an infamous tweet up at the time when Young Jedi Adventure Season 1 was coming out of like, who is most likely to kill Nubs? And Kevin Scott was the overwhelming majority. So
Yeah.
Of course it's Kevin Scott. He's the one that wants us to cry.
He had his chance because he did write an episode.
oh, he did.
There we go. That happened.
Where's my copy of Duke of Jedi Lost? Yeah. This guy who wrote this book is going to makes all of us cry, okay? This guy's a menace to society. If he has any sort of book that comes out in the next few months or years about the High Republic or anything, expect a lot of...
But here's the thing. We always dog on Kevin Scott for killing everyone, but the real person you got to watch out for is Claudia Gray.
No, I mean, I'm not dogging on Kevin Scott. I'm commending him for having us feel some type of way.
But like we always give shit to Kevin and be like, oh, he's gonna kill your favorite character. And the next one, Claudia will like do it in such a heartbreaking way where it's just like,
oh yeah,
why?
We've read Lost Stars. I know. So okay, and now we're back to what Luke said.
Wow,
so are we
back
sure
to
that
the-
Kamir is a true Sith? Still thinking he's the original Ren. Luke, we have already discussed this. Manny Jacinto has already said that his character is a Sith. Like,
Wait, hold on though. Actually, Manny Jacinto also said he didn't have lightsaber training and lied to our faces when he was on the press tour. So
well, he wanted to keep it a secret. I mean, he had to keep something under wraps.
After the show, the show, like, yes, I think we can all admit, we can all agree, Kylo's theme played. The show has always been very clearly stated to be about the Sith, about expanding Sith lore. And I mean, could he be an inspiration for the Knights of Ren?
Oh, definitely.
Maybe.
Surely.
I could see that. I don't think he's making it out of this season, so I don't know how he could have been the first Ren. I mean, I think he's going to bite it. He could have lied. It's true. It's very true. I think that he is a Sith.
Like I said, it sounds like this needs to be a Law Ones episode, and we need the defendant and the opposing.
I mean, I feel like why would he lie? And also, you have to keep in mind, like the Sith, Kamir just mowed everybody down. He made 2 Jedi into a shish kebab. Like, no one other than a Sith is doing that. Let's be clear here. Like, there's no one else besides that. Like I don't know. I just feel like that if he were to be the original Knight of Ren, I just like the Knights of Ren could be an origin from the Sith. I mean, sure.
I mean, we don't know the origin of the Knights of Ren at this point. So that is a fair idea to think that they could be an origin point for it.
Lied to throw us off. Huh.
I mean, they've been lying about the whole thing because then where did the Sith come into it? And I mean, the Acolyte is a very Sith term. We know the Knights of Ren don't use the term Acolyte. You just become a Knight of Ren. The Knight of Ren's big thing is not killing Jedi. It's membership requires a good death. Doesn't matter who it is. You can kill whoever you want. Like I said, could he be an inspiration for the Knights of Ren? Maybe. I don't think that he is a Knight of Ren. I don't think that he's the original Ren. I think that he is a Sith. He could be like Kira, like you said, may no longer have a master and just sort of be a Sith Ronin, so to speak.
Most definitely.
But I also think, like, when I said it, we were having this discussion, I think the Kylo Ren theme was played because, in live action at least, Kylo Ren is the closest thing to an acolyte. So I think they were just kind of doing like similarities between the two mass characters.
I'm gonna totally jump in and give the female perspective and say it was a Raylo moment also, like where he was healing her.
That's
I was like, "Are you okay?" Like the women of the fandom saw that and clocked it and were like, "I see you, I see you, I get it."
A little nod to the Raylos.
I mean, you could like a lot of the High Republic has a lot of nod to the Raylos. I think that there's a lot written in there that you can look at. I mean, come on, Avar and Elzar, come on, like, come on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see this one because I've noticed this comment and I'm kind of curious to address this. Oh, not this one. There was another one. This one right here. Do you think the Acolyte clashes with canon Star Wars, or do you think they're able to redeem it in the future episodes? Well, thus far, Acolyte has not contradicted any sort of canon thus far because for the whole Kiadi Mooney shit that's going on, Kiadi Mooney has no idea. He has an idea that this assassin is trained by a Jedi, but the Sith never comes across their mind, not once, because everyone knows that the Sith are gone. Like they've been gone for hundreds of years. Like almost an entire millennium at this point of the show. So how would they even like have the sense to be like, okay, well maybe this is Sith? No, this is so far.
Yeah.
We're way in too deep for them to even be able to conjure the idea.
Like we brought up earlier, like it's like there's two ways this can go. Either Kiadi Mundi never finds out, which is probably the most likely, or they cover it up. Either way, it doesn't contradict canon.
Yeah. So I mean. With the whole May and Osha birth, we all know that it was like some perverse like witchcraft magic. It wasn't someone just being born from the Force. Like there was something in the process of the Coven's witchcraft that created Mayho and Verosha. Like that's like that was how they were made. It was through the Coven's knowledge of the thread and the way that they're able to manipulate it, and it doesn't break canon. It doesn't do anything of that.
So, does Anakin have to be the only one born for the Force?
To some people, but
is that a canon thing? Like, there's only one person.
But the way that Anakin was made, it was a response to the Sith.
But that's also Legends.
Well, we don't know that yet, though.
Yeah,
that's Legends.
Exactly. A lot of this stuff that's established in the show, is in the realm of Legends. So a lot of the people that are calling this breaks canon are referring to Legends material. So it's not a crazy thing for this to happen. Like if you just like I said in our roundtable for episode 3, like how do you think like because Coral and Anasea are like the galaxy doesn't welcome women like us. Well, have you seen Hocus Pocus? Have you seen Harry Potter? Like any sort of witchcraft to like the society is like a no-no, a huge no-no. I mean, there's a reason why the Coven was in exile for very long and they made refuge on Brendok. Like it's not allowed in the galaxy. It's something that's just not accepted among the people. And when she said the galaxy doesn't accept women like us, it's because of witchcraft. Like no people really allow it. Like in Hocus Pocus, everyone points at the 3 witches. They're like, "Get out of here! Get out of Salem!" Like that's just how
can I argue against that?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Are we sure? Like there are planets where witchcraft is totally normal. You look at Dathomir, where like that's fine. And we are looking at it from like a Jedi perspective, where like you look at the witches and witches are bad. And our society, obviously, like for Harry Potter, all that witches are bad. But like and I am queer, so I might be doing this. But like you could also read it that they were like we're a bunch of women loving women, you know, and we're not accepted in the galaxy either. It could be we are also really into I don't know something that isn't like something else. It doesn't have to be necessarily witchcraft related. It could be, but I feel like people when they are giving arguments against canon or against Legends are making some assumptions, understandably so. But if we want to expand the universe, I think we can question some of those things and be like, Anakin doesn't have to be the only one. It might not just be witchcraft. I don't know. I'm not trying to start a fight. I'm just saying.
No, but like I also didn't interpret the reason why the Coven was on Brendox was because of witchcraft. I just thought it was just like we don't want to be under the scrutiny of the Republic. We don't want to kind of deal
they were
with
outside
the
of the
Jedi.
Republic.
Let's just do our own thing. I don't think it had anything to do with them being witchcraft or dark side force users. I think they were just like, nah, we don't want to do anything with the Jedi. Fuck that shit. We're just gonna go over here. That's how I kind of just saw it. I didn't think really anything of the magical source.
In which we have yet to. There's gonna be more Coven stuff that we're going to see. So I mean, it's not fair to even jump to conclusions yet, because I feel like if we're gonna have a little backstory about May and Osha, I feel like we're gonna have like a little bit of a hint as to how they were created. Because I mean, we all know that because Anasea was like, I created them, and then Coral said I carried them. So that's as far as we know as how they were conceived. So that's all I'm going to speak about for the Coven.
Yeah, and I will say that Skeleton Crew is coming out soon, and that's supposed to actually deal with witches too. So I'm sure there's maybe more that they're kind of setting up potentially.
And I mean, like I will say, and this will pick hairs, but I think Element made a great video of it, because everyone always falsely says that we know Anakin was created in response to the Sith. We actually don't. The book just has Plagueis wonder if Anakin's creation was in response to his manipulation. We never get that completely defined. So we don't really know about Anakin's origin other than that he doesn't have a dad. We don't know if it was the will of the Force. We don't know if something else was in play. I mean, I definitely think we need to learn more about the background of the twins' origin. I can't help but wonder if that giant spinny ball machine has some sort of play into it, because you look at the Coven, and for the most part, it feels kind of like, I almost liken it to the group of farmers we saw in season 1 of The Mandalorian. Like, they're kind of living the simple life. And then all of a sudden they've got this giant technological thing spitting off electricity. And I want to know what that is. And I want to know what role it plays.
But also the fact that like we know that the Jedi disabled it, because they were like in episode 3, they're like, oh, they destroyed the bridge. And if we got to later in that episode when the fire starts, that bridge is right where the machine is. Why would the Jedi purposely take this out?
Yeah, good point.
So it's like, again, that's why I'm the most curious about the point of views. It's like, what is Sol, Indara, Torben, and Kelnaka hiding so much that they, for the most part, went into hiding or went on their own separate ways?
Yeah. The Coven did something. We all know that because we saw what Mother Anasea did to Torben. We saw his eyes like become the scleral lenses, like we saw with that little May hallucination that Osha had in the earlier episodes. So something happened to him. He did something, and we were going to eventually find out about why he took the poison, because he said we were doing the right thing, and then he believed that it was right for him to go. So
also on the subject of the Coven stuff, I forgot about something in episode 5 when Osha's walking with Yord and the whole like scene with like the like, oh, we should use the creatures to get him out. Osha explicitly says like, oh yeah, the way that he's getting in people's minds is very similar to how Mother Anasea would get in people's minds.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's like a dark side thing, but it's like,
well, so and this, I'm going to split hairs on you simply here, because all she says is my mother did that, and I had this crazy thought. We never explicitly know whether or not it's Mother Anasea doing that to Torben.
True. Which mother?
We simply know that it's part of the Coven, and I wonder, because I think they've been very clear. Mother Anasea, at least to me, Mother Anasea is very much the, she's protective, but she's not combative.
But I also
Coral, on the other hand, displays a much more combative attitude, and I'm wondering if it's Coral doing that, and Mother Anasea is simply being the leader, so to speak, of the Coven, being the one to say, if you want your Padawan back, screw off, but it's not her actually doing it.
Ooh.
Love that.
And on the subject of Mother Coral, I always have the theory of like, what if Mother Coral was the one to sell May to Khmer? Because we still don't know how May gets from the tree to Khmer. So what if Mother Coral is the one that kind of like makes a trade?
Like has a bone to pick with the Jedi.
What if Mother Coral meets the lava pit that we saw May seemingly fall into, and that's what breaks the hold on Kelnaka or Torben?
Guys, there's so much we don't know. It's
I agree, Kate.
And it's great. I
Correlate.
love it.
I know,
love that
I
we
know.
don't know.
insane.
But I mean, as of Tuesday of this upcoming week, there's a whole bunch of possibilities that we can find out. I mean, I feel like they're going to save the last 2 episodes to like really save it for like the current time. But I have a strong feeling that this next episode is going to be a time jump, and we're going to finally get the answers that we've been waiting for since earlier this month. So, so with the Coven conversation digressing,
Yeah.
So the Sith potentially being exposed was the only thing I thought could break canon. Other than that, I don't think anything else is a problem. Well, yeah, they expose themselves. That's if anyone gets word out.
Yes.
Because as we know, out of the 8 Jedi that were there, only one of them walked out with their lives. So
far.
yeah, and that's Sol. And Sol knows that Vernestra wants them to keep it under closed doors because of the political opponents. They don't want it causing an issue with the Jedi. Because we're slowly leaning into the prequel era where the Jedi Order is not really the Jedi Order anymore. It's just a servant of the Senate. Because, I mean, for example, like in Tales of the Jedi, when we get to that episode where Dooku is Dooku in the first episode, and then, technically the second episode, because the baby Ahsoka one's first, when he's having that dealing with Senator Dagonet, and they're trying to rescue the senator's son. And he's like, "You serve the Senate." He's like, "No, we are the people of this. We serve the people of this republic." And it's a whole thing. And then like, and then the Senate will do however, because the Senate is going to slowly becoming the powerhouse now.
Yeah.
Like the Jedi are not Jedi in the prequels. They're straying away. They're becoming soldiers. They're not peacekeepers anymore.
Mhm.
And this is exactly what the end of the High Republic is going to be leaning into, which is where the Acolyte takes place.
Yeah.
So that's essentially what it is. So, and may I keep in mind, Lucasfilm has an entire group of people that are adhering to the canon. Like, they are so strict on the canon. Like, everyone who thinks that they're going to break canon, it's not even going to.
There are moments.
Are we going to talk?
If it's not animated, if it's not animated.
Yeah.
Shout out the Ahsoka novel.
The floor is ours.
But I mean, so far Ahsoka, Acolyte has not broke canon whatsoever.
Well, and it's not done yet.
True.
Like, we're sitting here saying this breaks canon or that breaks canon or this breaks canon. And it's like, well, we haven't wrapped up the story. And Leslie was very clear, like she pitched this as a multi-season story, but every season would be a complete story.
Yeah.
So we will get answers for what it is we still have questions for. I fully expect that. And I fully expect at the end of the day, to your point, Char, like there's an entire story group. We've seen Pablo Hidalgo's name all over the credits in this show so far. Like they are there. They're making sure nothing is going to contradict, Dark Disciple notwithstanding. And I feel you with that, Kier, by the way, because I want answers for how it is Asajj was at all there. And I hope that whatever this future content that they're going to give.
I mean, I think it's the lake, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah, that's a whole other
Yeah.
conversation. We can take that one.
Yeah. I mean, I love how Jennifer Corbett's like, "Oh, we'll get answers eventually." When?
Yeah. Which is
but yeah,
fun, you know. It's fun to not know. It's fun to theorize,
Yeah.
and I get that canon is also exciting, but it's fun to flex canon in a way too. You know, I think it's fun to like explore. There's like visions, obviously, that you can just do it, you know.
Yeah.
But I think it's fun to kind of see what you can manipulate and how you can pull things and make it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like what they're doing.
Kay in the chat said episode 7 is the same director as 3, so it's assumed it'll be a flashback. Okay, well, so
Okay.
episode
That's
7
good to
won't
know.
be this week, but it'll be the week after this upcoming week.
Okay.
Because we just got to episode 5. So this next week's going to be 6, and then the week after that will be episode 7. So,
That makes me curious now about what's going to happen in this episode.
yeah.
I feel like it'll be a cliffhanger, flashback, and we get all this context, and then like the finale.
Yeah, because you would think that the director of 3 would have like with establishing the characters and everything would be perfect for adding more to what they directed. So maybe maybe they go to 6 and they continue with the current time, and then 7 they jump, and then 8 we get the finale. But yeah, I did not know that, Kay. I appreciate that. I had no idea that
Yeah,
they're sharing directors right there. Now, have y'all touched on Venomous yet? Are we talking about the Plagueis apprentice or one of the acolytes that he had? No, we have not touched on Darth Venomous. But that's the thing. Like, a lot of the stuff in the Plagueis book, you have to tread lightly with, because even though Plagueis is canon, a lot of the characters in that book are not. So you think
it's a good novel.
Whoa, you think Khmer is venomous?
I mean, he did say he doesn't have a name. It could be that if he was kind of going off of Kira, what you said earlier, that he doesn't have a master.
Well, his name can't be the Nameless, because there's already a character that has the name the Nameless. So, yeah,
it's not kind of what those creatures here.
Yeah, so I mean, you got to tread lightly with that, but yeah, Venomous. I mean, we have had instances where EU in Legend stuff has been canon. I mean, one of the
show they bring a ton of stuff from the EU.
One of the things that was just happened in the recent episode that was introduced in Legends but was brought in canon to the comics, the Cortosis. Yeah. Like the Cortosis helmet. I mean, that was first introduced in the Legends timeline, and it was brought into canon, and then this is the first time we've seen it in live action. Like, this is one of the coolest things ever. Like, because everyone's so used to Beskar and the cool, like, the tough material of Beskar, but Cortosis. Now that's something special. It's not as durable, but it's got some very interesting capabilities.
I mean, I completely forgot about Cortosis being in Thrawn Alliances until Danielle posted about it. I was like, oh yeah, I was like, oh yeah, that was in Thrawn Alliances.
How dare you? That is immediately what. That's the only time I knew about it. I was like, oh, Thrawn reference. I didn't even know about the comics.
I didn't even know it was also in A New Dawn as well.
Oh my God, you're right. Oh my God, you're right.
So
damn.
I'm like, a Hera novel, and I didn't think of that first. I'm depressed. Oh my God.
I love how you're like, how dare you forget Thrawn? And then I'm like, how dare you forget Hera?
And
all right, that's it for me. Night.
This is an actually interesting comment that Tenebris mined Cortosis, because you have to keep in mind, Tenebris by name is canon because of the Sith Legions in Rise of Skywalker. His name is canon.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, his name is one of the 6 Sith Legions on Exegol. So his name is canon, but everything that happens with him in the stories is very fine line. There's not much about him. So, but Tenebris by name is canon. So there's a chance that we could see him. There's a chance. Plagueis, I mean, Revenge of the Sith, he's canon by name. I mean, we know that he's the master of Palpatine, but I really want to see who's training Chimera. I really want to do. That's why I wanted to see his master.
Even if like Kira's theory is right, like him being a renegade Sith, like he had to be trained by somebody. It's like I want to see like how the lineage begins and how it kind of progresses with Khmer.
Yeah. I may have some takes that is silly, but seeing other insight is helpful after what you guys have said has made me feel a little better and trusting towards the next episodes. Okay. Absolutely. I mean, the whole goal of this show is to watch it until it's complete. I mean, people were already jumping to conclusions by the end of episode 3 of the show when there's 8 episodes. It's not fair to jump to the end of the show before anything really develops. Like episode 5, I'm sure a lot of the people that didn't like it absolutely loved it. Like, they did not expect to see what they saw on screen. So, I mean, because with Acolyte fandom right now, it's such a cesspool of just, like, saying it's not canon, it's woke, it's this, and that. But, like, there's nothing about the show that makes it that way. There's nothing that's telling us otherwise. Like, there's nothing that's woke. There's nothing that breaks canon. Like, it's just flavor text. It's just something that you can say.
Yeah.
It's just there's no meaning behind it.
It's just grifter talking points.
There's no concrete evidence as to it breaking canon or it being woke. Like, there's nothing about it.
And my question to people, and I've been lucky, I've had the rare person show up in my comments, probably because I've only got like 180 some odd people that follow me anywhere, is explain to me how this would be different if it was a white lead. How would the story change?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely not.
It wouldn't change at all. Right? The witches are witches. Doesn't matter who plays them.
Yeah, it's only that way if you're looking for it and through biased glasses.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, because a lot of the people that are reviewing the show are only looking at the surface. They're only looking at things that if it doesn't fit their definition of Star Wars. Because I hate the whole term. It's like, it's not my Star Wars. Of course, it's not your Star Wars. It's never been your Star Wars. Like, it's whatever Star Wars makes of it. So the whole term, it's not my Star Wars. It's not my Luke Skywalker. You don't own it. It's like the song "How Bizarre It." Want to know the rest? Buy the rights. How bizarre.
Also, it's like if it's not for you, if it doesn't, you don't jive with it.
Stop watching.
That's fine. Like, not everything is for everyone in this galaxy.
Yeah.
Like, I have I could go on and on about the things that I don't like about certain things inside of the galaxy, but I don't, because I just decided, you know what, it's not for me. Carry on. I'll watch what I want to watch that I love. Like, at the end of the day, that's the big thing to me. Is it's like, if you don't like it, if you don't want to watch it, no one is stopping you. This is not an airport. You do not have to announce your departure. Please just stop watching it.
And also, also for toxic positivity, like, it's okay to have an opinion on things. You're not supposed to like everything. I know that there's grifters that hate everything, but there's also people that like everything, and that's not really it's like basically the same thing. Like, it's okay to have an opinion on things, but make sure that it's just. Like, actually have like a reason to have that opinion. Like, you can't just say it just breaks canon, even though there's no instance where it does.
Yeah.
Like, it's like if you say, like, oh, I don't like the Rise of Skywalker, I don't like the Book of Boba Fett. That's fair.
Fine.
That's fair. But don't point your finger at someone and say, I don't like that you like it. That's not fair. Because for the Acolyte, there's a ton of people, including ourselves, that love it so far.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that are like, you're crazy for liking this. I don't like you. And that's crazy.
To which I say, thanks. Bye.
Yeah, like, Hereth knows this. I have my gripes with Bad Batch Season 2. I absolutely hated Bad Batch Season 2. But that's fine. That's my shtick. Okay, I'm leaving.
Well, and I mean, like,
well, it's my show now. Okay.
There we go. Yeah. I mean, like one of the things. I mean, we've talked about all the things that we love about this episode, and really about the series in general. I personally didn't like the editing. I felt like the way that it cut between battle scenes. You know, as much as we were in it and I loved it and it was great. When I watched it again after kind of the initial shock of it all wore off, the editing between this episode and the last one felt really choppy for me. Like, it didn't let scenes breathe. And that's my opinion, right? And you know, if someone disagrees, that's fine. But I felt that it took away from some of those scenes.
Yeah. And Kay, I've been called shill, dumb, that I should be ashamed of myself. It's all ridiculous. Or how about the one where it's like, how much is Disney paying you?
Oh, that's my favorite comment.
Yeah.
Or my other favorite one is, oh, you're just saying that because you're mutuals with Swagman and you want to censor yourself. It's like, shut the fuck up.
No, like if you like something, say that you like something. And if you don't like something, say you don't like something. But like this is its own thing. Like, we're completely in a different timeline where people are so quick to jump and just say that it breaks canon. Like, I'm sure none of those people have really been aware of what's going on at this time, because they're like, oh, the High Republic, time of peace. What peace? The Nihil exists. Like, there's nothing peaceful about that time frame.
And that's like, this entire series starts off on a lie. The opening crawl of this series says that the galaxy has enjoyed centuries of peace. And it's like, I'm sorry. Starlight Beacon?
Like, did any of you play Jedi Survivor? Do you not remember what happened to Dagon Gera?
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
Like, yeah, KG, the cuts were abrupt. Yeah, that's one of my gripes of the show for a time being. It was like, I really hated how fast they would end the show, like, especially with the end of episode 4. But episode 5, they ended it really well with having Kamira and Osha, like, having like that one like moment, and then coming to the end credits. But yeah, there's some parts of the show that I'm not a fan of.
Like,
but the story is great. I'm telling you this right now. The story is absolutely great. in terms of a Star Wars, like in terms of the Star Wars timeline, fantastic.
But I feel like this is kind of a good place to end the episode. I feel like we're kind of
Yeah, I think
we
so
dis-
too.
we
Yeah, you
discussed
guys have
everything that
anything
we
else to
wanted
add
to.
before we roll on out?
Sounds good. No,
We're all good?
extra thoughts for me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, that was a roundtable discussion for Acolyte episode 5. I appreciate you guys all for coming in to watch, all 46 of you right now. Kier, Nick, thank you for coming. Hereth, screw you. I don't know why I said that.
What
That was
what I
kinda
do?
mean. I don't know.
Ow!
I don't know.
Podwans host forever at war.
Passive aggressive love. Consider that. But without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching. Please stay tuned for our upcoming Acolyte roundtables every single Friday. But first things first. Kier, where can the good people follow you on social media?
You can follow. Hold on, where's my camera? There it is.
I love
Here,
doing that. I love pointing at my name.
Manticorian. I'm on Twitter most actively now, but getting back into TikTok and also Instagram. So.
Nick, where can the good people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and TikTok at NDUIsGuy, as it says right here. There we go. Look at that. I did my best job with it. I love talking about this show. I love talking about the High Republic in general. So if you are a High Republic nerd, please come and join the conversation. You will also see me here every Tuesday and Friday for reactions of each episode and roundtables of each episode of The Acolyte.
Hereth, where can the good people find you?
The good people can find me at Hereth Productions on TikTok and Instagram. Hereth_edits on Twitter if you want to see my shitty reposts of other people's tweets. And of course, you could find me here at the Podwans Podcast.
And for myself, you can find me on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at CharJ, as spelled right here. Hereth, I love that. Thank you so much for adding the names, because I've been missing out on that forever. And then you can find me here at the Podwans Podcast every Tuesday as we record our reactions for Acolyte, and here every Friday as we are doing right now, the roundtable for that week's episode. But without further ado, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. For Light and for Life, we are all the Republic, and may the Force be with you always. See you guys.